Is the real estate market going to crash and finally burst this year? To answer this question, we have to take a little step back, and it is worth taking a look at the market overall and analyze it a bit since we have the latest market update from January, shall we? Hi, welcome back to the AV Team Real Estate channel. For those that don't know me, I'm Antonio, a real estate agent in the GTA. Quickly, if you like content like this, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to have a private chat with me, look down below for the first link in the description below. Last year was one of the strangest years for real estate in Toronto. If you recall, it was all hot and steaming in the beginning of 2022 when homes were selling left and right at incredible prices. In context, home prices were never going to stop rising. In everyone's mind, it just kept rising forever, right? The major contributors will be the money printing during the COVID-19 and the catalyst of the low interest rate. It was almost free to borrow money, and cheap mortgages were the byproduct of the printing of money. And remember, everyone never expected that the appreciation of home would just never stop. Not until the inflation hit us like a tank and got out of control. Just when everyone expected the housing market to go up forever, the Fed just made a 360-degree turn and raised the interest rate 10 consecutive times. A quick reference from the January Toronto Real Estate Board shows that we could again see the number of sales drop by 45% if compared to last year in the same month. This is just a general GTA average, and in my past videos we have seen much worse, up to 75% drop in transactions in many pockets of the GTA. I'm not going to bore you and show every statistic, but the point is the sales are bad and prices are going down. There are many similarities to the situation from 2007 through 2009. Many think this is 2008 all over again, and the recession is inevitable. The housing crisis was a disaster. If you watch the movie The Big Short, by the way, that is an incredible, interesting movie. If you haven't watched it, you should. That will give you an idea why the housing bubble burst in 2008. Mortgages and subprime mortgages were everywhere, and getting approved was so easy. It is hilarious when people on the street with little income and strippers can easily get a house. So now that we know what happened back then, you could relax a bit. In Canada, we have a lesser risk of that since we do have a stricter stress test for mortgages. The stress test is a pain, but at the same time, this is why it is necessary for learning history. Because of the stubbornness of the unemployment rate, we are not technically in a recession, but we all know that this ticks almost all the boxes for a recession where almost everything is regressing, including the economy, houses, stock market, and big giant companies laying off employees. More importantly, why did 2008 bubble burst when the subprime mortgage collapsed and predatory lending all contributed to a housing market epidemic of unprecedented proportion in which no one could buy because all banks closed the pipeline and no one could sell because there were simply no buyers. This could be the biggest difference when compared to 2008. If you saw my last video about the alternative mortgage options, which I will link to the video, the banks are offering incentive and promoting mortgages. I sat down with a mortgage broker and he actually told me that they are offering lower fixed rates than what it is offered by the most institutions, and they have ways to offer refinances and much more. I'm not talking about alternative or B lender per se, but I'm talking about the 5 big banks in Canada. To understand this better, the major banks in Canada are really saying that they anticipate the rate will go lower in the future in order for them to offer a lower rate. That, my friend, is telling me that the bank is confident about the rate moving forward. To be frank, I have no clue what can happen next, but I can be sure that nobody could predict COVID-19 or when the market crashed. Being on the field and working with some buyers who were hesitant to buy due to the real estate market, I can report that prices aren't falling as fast as reported in the headlines. In fact, I've seen multiple offers of many freehold properties in your region, but the prices have remained stable. If you want the market to crash like it did in 2008, this is the truth. I'm sorry to report that the situation is different and the banks aren't closing the pipeline. In fact, they are doing the opposite to promote financing options. In addition, the high interest rate did not help the house's affordability because the prices have not come down enough to offset the high interest rate. Yeah, I know that is the news most first-time home buyers do not want to hear, but this is the sad truth. Now the sales were matching their historically low levels. Guess what? Everybody turn to the rental market. It was a record year for rental market in Toronto last year, and it is only going to continue this year. I could confirm that the rental market is incredibly hot with increasing demand. I can't believe the number of people who have reached out to me. I kept getting people reaching out every day for leases all around the GTA, and most of them are newcomers who of course will have trouble showing credit scores. As a result, they have no choice but to offer half to a full year rent up front. Bottom line, it is a mess. Because of the high demand for rentals, landlords are being more picky than ever with their tenants. For those unfamiliar with the rental market, landlords typically accept tenants who pay like 30% of their gross income. But if rents continue to rise, we are talking about a 2-bedroom condo in the GTA. It is currently sitting at $2,600 to $3,200 per month. That equates to $120,000 annually in gross income in order to qualify for a $3,000 a month rent. This is simply insane. And imagine a family with a one-person salary to support a family. It would be almost impossible to qualify for a rental unit. Furthermore, with a record number of immigrants, not all came with a lot of money, and they were turned down left and right. I honestly don't know how they could settle down. They need to find other alternatives where to look for a basement unit or share rooms, but either way, this is extremely difficult. For all this reasoning, I truly believe that we won't see a huge increase or decrease in prices in 2023, even if there are fewer sales. I'm not sure in other part of the world, but in Toronto, I'm seeing less inventory for sale every day. And sellers aren't desperate to sell because they don't think it is a good time. Sellers, particularly those who have the low interest rate locked in for many years, will not consider selling now. As for the buyers, they simply think they could find better deals and are hesitant to buy. At the same time, some buyers still need to purchase in certain situations, such as when they are moving from place to place or need to sell because of a divorce or whatever the case may be. So here is a piece of advice. In general, we're not really expecting to see the market go up or down in terms of prices. So if you are looking to buy, don't just sit there and say, well, I'm going to wait the market to crash at the end of the year, because guess what? It is not going to happen. If you're a seller, don't just sit there and say, well, I'm just going to wait for the market to get better or even stronger. Like I said earlier, prices will probably remain flat for a while or might even get worse. At the end of the day, if this is the new normal where the interest rate stays around 5 or 6%, maybe it is time to move on and buy what you love or make your plan if you need the money for something else. On my part, you might say, hey, Antonio, you're a real estate agent. Of course you will say that so that I can collect the check when there is a transaction. While this might be true, I'm also busy on the leases where there are plenty of jobs to be made. In many cases, that is the transition of a real estate agent in this market. It is weird, but in a way, for the realtors in GTA, you could survive doing leases during this period of time. My job is to serve clients and fulfill my fiduciary duties, which could be either helping them purchase, sell, or rent a place. Everyone needs a place to live, and with so many people moving to Toronto, I might be able to help as a realtor. Anyway, enough rambling. I'll end the video right here, and I'll see you in the next one.